Hello? There we go. Sorry, audio issues. I'm still figuring things out. Thank you for taking the time to join us today on our daily encouragement. My name is Lewis, and it's been an emotional week, can I tell you? And it's not over yet. um, because by the time you see this, the week's probably not done, and that's okay. Uh, Busy is good, and it means we're still alive and still have the opportunity to try to help one another. So that's my goal today. We're going to be continuing our journey through Matthew. We're up to chapter 18. And today we're going to go through the first two verses. We're going to start on verse 1. At the same time came the disciples unto Jesus, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come. But woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off, and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with one eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost. And we'll stop there. I mean, we could keep going, but we'll stop there first. I want to tell you a story, give you an illustration. And it's going to be a little bit silly. I'm trying to be somewhat lighthearted. Like I said, it's been a heavy week. But I was watching a video from a former wrestler, and he was talking about his days when he wrestled, and by wrestling I'm talking about professional wrestling, and call it whatever you want, but he was talking about the entertainment side of it, and the video in particular I saw was, he said, these are the people that I worked with that I knew didn't like me. And as he was talking about a couple of them, one of the things he mentioned was that the way he got started was a little bit of an easier route than some of these others had gotten to do. And what he said he had to learn to do was understand that as he went forward, and understand that they weren't necessarily personally disliking him, but what they were doing was trying to see how was he going to approach the craft that they worked so hard to succeed in and to excel at. When we talk about Christianity, we think about the things that have occurred this week, the things we've heard about, be it Charlie Kirk, be it some of the media that's been uh, saying things about Charlie, or about other people out in the atmosphere. No matter what your approach is, the thing that we heard about most was his humility. Now, when we look at this passage, what do we see? We see the disciples asking the question, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Which, by the way, my belief is that when, as a believer, you've accepted him, and you go in, when your time has come and you go to heaven, you're not going to care about who's the greatest, because the greatest will be Jesus, and that's going to be it. You're not going to be thinking who is the best Christian, or who, because just looking at it biblically speaking, none of us are the greatest Christian because all our righteousness are as filthy rags. If not for the grace of God, there go I. See, the ability that one has to be able to teach what the Bible says is having an understanding that without Him, we are nothing. If I stand up behind the pulpit and preach, or if I stand in front of a group and teach, and I provide instruction, it better not be my opinion if I say, Thus saith the Lord. What it better be is me saying, This is what the Bible says. And if I could help you apply it, that's great. But if not, I don't have room. I don't have the position to talk about it in an arrogant or overconfident way because even let's say I am a Christian who never curses, never says a bad word, never has a bad thought as far as hatred towards someone. It doesn't mean that something couldn't happen that make me get angry, make me get upset, make me say a bad word or have a bad thought. I'm not perfect. I'm not sinless. And just because in my example, my speech is perfect, if I commit some other sin, if I um, if I'm violent towards someone, and if I'm a thief, if if I'm an adulterer in my mind, those are all still sins, and just one of them makes me worthy of death. For the wages of sin, the thing that I've earned because of my sin, is death. So there is nothing I should ever think about when it comes to who is the greatest Christian or who is the greatest in the kingdom. Because outside of Jesus, that's it. And only by the grace of God would I be up there in heaven. But what does he tell us? He said, Except you be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, what does he mean by that? Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, understanding there's a higher authority that we're accountable to. There's a higher authority that we're responsible to. And that the actions I take on this world, I'm going to be held accountable for. That's how come the Bible tells us about every idle word, every idle thought that we, for lack of a better way of saying it, that we waste, we're going to be accountable for. So this idea of who's the greatest, we need to put that to the side. Now, how can I be an encouragement with this teaching here? Well, first off, understanding God knew how horrible we would be ahead of time. He knew the wickedness that we would have, yet He still sent His Son for us to have a chance at heaven. He still sent His Son to die the death He did so that we could have a home in heaven. And when we remember that and we have the humility to understand, not I, but Christ liveth in me. What was the message that Charlie said? It's all about Jesus. It's all about Jesus. And the sooner you and I understand that, the sooner we can have a more effective ministry for Him. The sooner we can realize the purpose God has for us. And I don't care if you're 8 or 88 or whatever in between. God has a purpose for you because you're still on this earth. You're still have a reason that God has kept you here for His honor and His glory. And what you should do is take comfort in that. We should take joy in that He still has a purpose. He still wants to use us when we're so unworthy. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Look, whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. So remember what your purpose is. Because the Son of Man needs to come to save that which was lost. And we're to be proclaiming Him. There are still people out there that need to hear about Jesus. That's your job. That's your goal. Just be humble and move forward with that. Thank you again for taking the time to join us on our channel here. If you are finding encouragement, that's great. I just ask you to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Uh, just all that does is it communicates to me someone's being reached. I'm not, this isn't my full-time job or something I'm looking at for extra income. Just trying to take what little voice I have and do what I can to be influence to people. So again, I thank you. Hope you have a blessed rest of your day.